Do you ever feel like no matter how much you rest, you still wake up feeling exhausted? Like your mind is on overdrive, but your spirit feels stuck? That's no coincidence. That's conditioning. We've been born into a system that profits on our burnout. It rewards distraction, feeds on fear, and convinces us that exhaustion is success. Most people call it modern life. I call it the matrix. But this matrix isn't made of code, it's made of cortisol. Every time you scroll, rush, or compare, your biology gets hacked. Cortisol spikes, dopamine floods, and serotonin drops. And without even realizing it, you become addicted to your own stress chemistry. That's how the matrix keeps you plugged in. Not through control, but through chemistry. Today, I'm breaking down how this invisible system rewires your brain, hijacks your hormones, and traps your nervous system in a permanent loop of survival. And most importantly, how to break free. I'm Dr. Nikhil Sharma, and after 14 years in hospitals, I saw it firsthand. Our healthcare system doesn't heal you, it manages you. That's why I started A Quick Dose with Dr. Nick. Here, we cut through the noise and talk real health, stress, gut health, brain rewiring, the root causes that actually change your life. The Matrix isn't science fiction, it's a stress algorithm. It's a system that tells you what you want, what to fear, and who to be. It starts with dopamine, the brain's reward molecule. Every notification, every like, every breaking news alert hits your dopamine circuit like a slot machine. That's not coincidence, that's by design. 2019 Stanford study found that each phone notification creates a dopamine surge identical to a gambling win. We are literally being conditioned like lab rats pressing a lever for a reward. And here's the biology. Every dopamine high comes with a cortisol cost because chasing constant stimulation keeps your nervous system in alert mode. Cortisol rises, inflammation builds, focus collapses, and over time, your body forgets how to relax. The matrix isn't physical, it's chemical. It convinces you that peace is laziness and chaos is productivity. It's a world that keeps you running so fast, you forget to ask where you're going. Like a fish that can't see the water it swims in. Most people can't see the matrix because we're born inside of it. Programming begins young. We're taught to sit still, follow rules, and trade creativity for compliance. We learn that belonging is earned by performance. That early conditioning shapes our nervous system. The brain's stress center, the amygdala, links safety to approval. So when someone disapproves of you, your body reacts like it's under attack. It's not just emotional, it's physiological. Chronic people pleasing raises cortisol and blunts the vagus nerve, the very circuit responsible for calm and digestion. That's why suppressing yourself literally makes you sick. A 2021 NIH study found that chronic stress in adolescence triples the risk of depression and anxiety in adulthood. Translation: when authenticity is punished, illness becomes predictable. They don't need to cage you, they just have to convince you that freedom is dangerous. When you live off purpose, your body knows it. Purpose isn't a spiritual buzzword, it's a biological regulation. It's the anchor that tells your nervous system you're safe, you're aligned, you belong. When you abandon your purpose, when you spend years doing work that drains you, staying in relationships that shrink you, or chasing success that doesn't fulfill you, your body registers this as danger. Your vagus nerve, which runs from your brainstem through your gut and heart, is your built-in regulator. When you're aligned, it hums in rhythm. Your heart rate is steady, your breath is full, your digestion is smooth. When you're misaligned, that nerve is flatlined. Heart rate variability drops, cortisol rises, digestion slows, sleep becomes shallow. Soon, your hormones follow. Testosterone plummets, estrogen dysregulates, DHEA depletes. You're exhausted, but restless, wired, but tired. You lose excitement for the very things that used to light you up. A 2019 study in JAMA Psychiatry found that people with a low sense of purpose had double the risk of heart disease and early death, even when controlling for lifestyle. That's because your nervous system isn't designed to grind, it's designed to grow. When you betray your purpose, your body becomes your protest sign. It starts whispering through fatigue, then shouting through anxiety, then collapsing through disease. Purpose is medicine. Misalignment is poison, and in the matrix, we're all overdosing on distraction and calling it ambition. Matrix runs on one primary fuel: fear. Fear sells, fear clicks, Fear keeps you compliant. Every time you scroll, the algorithm studies your stress. It knows that outrage and anxiety keep you online longer. And with every headline, every alert, every debate, your amygdala lights up like a fire alarm. That constant activation floods your bloodstream with cortisol and adrenaline. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that handles reasoning and empathy, goes offline. You stop responding and start reacting. That's called the amygdala hijack. And it's no accident, it's a business model. The average adult checks their phone 352 times in a day with a combined screen time of nearly 7 hours. That's 352 biochemical interruptions, tiny jolts of stress, and dopamine keeping you addicted to the noise. Over time, your brain starts confusing stimulation with satisfaction. You feel busy but empty, hyperconnected yet deeply alone. The nervous system wasn't built for this level of input. Every ping is a microdose of cortisol. Every scroll is a silent drip of dopamine withdrawal. And here's the danger. Constant distraction fractures identity. When you can't sit in silence, you can't hear your intuition. And when you can't hear your intuition, the matrix doesn't need to silence you. You silence yourself. Fear is the Wi-Fi signal that keeps the matrix online. Unplug, and you immediately start to heal. Here's where it gets darker. The matrix doesn't just control your attention, it monetizes your biology. 80% of chronic diseases are preventable through lifestyle changes, yet less than 3% of healthcare spending goes towards prevention because a healthy, regulated population doesn't sell as much. The modern economy thrives on stress. You work late, so you eat processed food. That spikes insulin and inflammation, so you crave caffeine and sugar. Then your cortisol stays high, so you can't sleep. You wake up exhausted, so you're busy buying energy drinks, medications, and online solutions that keep the cycle spinning. It's not personal failure, it's systemic design. Stress increases inflammation through cytokines like IL-6 and TNF alpha. That inflammation drives insulin resistance, which leads to metabolic disease. Meanwhile, chronic cortisol suppresses immunity, making you sick more often, fueling pharmaceutical dependency. The result? An economy that profits off of imbalance. Fast food funds big pharma. Big pharma funds advertising. Advertising fuels insecurity. Insecurity keeps you consuming. The matrix doesn't need you dead, it needs you dependent. It doesn't want you healed, it wants you managed. And the more dysregulated your nervous system becomes, the more profitable you are. This is where control goes microscopic. Straight into your chemistry. Chronic stress keeps cortisol high and testosterone low. When cortisol dominates, it suppresses your hypothalamus, the part of your brain that governs the hormone balance. In men, that means less testosterone, lower drive, slower recovery, and weaker motivation. In women, estrogen and progesterone fall out of sync, so mood, instability, anxiety, brain fog, and exhaustion occur. Your hormones are the conductors of your energy, focus, and emotion. When they go flat, so does your fire. And that's exactly how the matrix wants you. Calm enough to function, tired enough to comply. Biologically, fear rewires behavior. High cortisol activates the amygdala and shuts down the prefrontal cortex, reducing curiosity and independent thought. Low dopamine makes you crave external reward. Low testosterone dulls assertiveness. Low estrogen blunts empathy and intuition. It's not just stress, it's subtle sedation. A population running on caffeine, cortisol, and compliance. Between 1980 and today, average testosterone levels have dropped nearly 25%. In women, hormonal disorders like PCOS and thyroid imbalance have doubled. When the body's chemistry collapses, self-trust collapses with it. The matrix doesn't need handcuffs, it has hormones. Because when your biology is dysregulated, obedience feels like peace. So how do you get out of the matrix? You don't fight it. You remember who you were before it convinced you to be someone else. The matrix feeds on confusion and fear. It thrives when you forget your inner compass. But every human is born with one. Your intuition, your gut, your spark of excitement. That spark is biology. Your gut isn't just digestion, it's a second brain. It holds over 500 million neurons and communicates directly with the emotional centers of your mind through the vagus nerve. When you feel something is off, that's not imagination. That's your enteric nervous system warning you that you are out of alignment. When you follow what genuinely excites you, what lights up your body instead of draining it, dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin rise together. Your nervous system shifts from fear to flow. That's not philosophy, that's neurochemistry. So, how do you tap into that guidance again? Step one, get quiet. You can't hear your intuition over constant noise. Meditation, stillness, nature. They're not luxuries, they're recalibration. When the external input drops, the internal signal strengthens. Step two, listen to the body. Your body never lies. If your chest tightens, your gut twists, or your energy drops when you think of something, that's a no. If you feel warmth, expansion, curiosity, that's a yes. That's your biology voting for alignment. Step three, follow your highest excitement. Excitement is the language of your higher intelligence. It's the breadcrumb trail back to your authentic self. The more you act on it, without expectation, without fear, the more coherent your brain and heart become. Heart variability improves, cortisol drops, testosterone and estrogen stabilize. Step four, create, don't consume. The matrix wants you reactive. Creation makes you sovereign. When you make art, build, teach, or serve, dopamine flows in healthy cycles. Reward follows purpose, not distraction. Step five, surround yourself with regulators, not triggers. Healing isn't a solo sport. Spend time with people whose energy calms your system, not spikes it. Co regulation is real. Nervous systems sync. Find environments that feel like exhaling. And finally, step six, remember who you were when you were born, before the programming, before the fear, before the noise. That childlike curiosity, that openness, that's still inside of you. That's your original frequency. When you live from that place, your entire physiology reorganizes around the truth. Because purpose isn't something you find, it's something you remember. And when you follow that memory, that gut feeling, that highest excitement, the matrix can't touch you because a human living in alignment with their purpose is the one thing that systems can't control. Matrix isn't somewhere out there. It's in here. It's every belief that tells you you're not enough, every habit that keeps you too busy to feel. When you reclaim your biology, you reclaim your freedom. When you regulate your nervous system, you unplug. The matrix cannot survive an awakened body because the moment your nervous system feels safe enough to be yourself, the system loses control. I'm Dr. Nick, and this has been your quick dose. If this has resonated, share it because awareness spreads faster than fear.